Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Chandrakant Maske, a man whose lifelong, dedicated search for God took a turn he absolutely never saw coming. So let's start right here. This single feeling, this sense of being incomplete, well, that's the spark that ends up igniting a total transformation in his life. To really get the scale of this change, we first have to step into his world. And this was a world defined by deep, daily devotion, where pretty much every single action was part of this intense spiritual search. You know, his spiritual quest wasn't just some casual hobby. It was woven into the very fabric of his childhood. From his earliest memories, he watched his mother, and he truly believed she was a channel for divine power. And he wanted that same connection more than anything. I mean, just look at this schedule. It really paints a picture of his incredible dedication. Can you imagine waking up at 3:30 a.m. every single day for the sacred pre-dawn hour? Then an hour of worship. He wasn't just praying. He was reciting scriptures, traveling to meet holy men, all in this desperate hope of absorbing the divine power he was searching for. But after all of that devotion, all that work, he was still left with this hollow feeling. It was like a crack in his spiritual foundation. Even though he was perfectly performing every ritual, that sense of being incomplete was just a constant shadow hanging over him. So often, it's a crisis that really forces a turning point in our lives. And for Chandrakant, that crisis was both deeply personal and financial. Okay, so fast forward to 2012. Financial hardship really hit hard, and he suddenly had to find a new home for his family, and fast. After a desperate search, he found the perfect place, but it came with what he saw as a huge, insurmountable problem. His reaction wasn't just, hesitation. It was a gut feeling of disgust. He'd been taught that Christians used money and other incentives to convert people, and he was genuinely terrified they would make him abandon his gods. His first instinct was to just walk away. But with no other options, he reluctantly moved in. And his prejudice was so deep that for 5 whole months, 5 months, he refused to even speak with the landlord's family. He actually made his mother be the go-between for everything. But you know how it is. Prejudice can't always stand up to genuine curiosity. And in his case, it wasn't a sermon or a holy book that got his attention. It was just a simple conversation he had with his sister. So his sister secretly went to one of their prayer meetings, and she came back with this description that just fascinated him. She's talking about a tangible, physical experience, people feeling peace, some even falling down. But the one detail that really, truly got him was her description of feeling like something was leaving a person. And that was it. That was the phrase that just shattered years of resistance. Think about it. In all his rituals, his entire search had been about gaining power, never about something being taken away. As someone who was all about seeking divine power, this idea of a physical manifestation was something he just had to check out for himself. So he decided he had to see if this whole thing was real. Picture this. He dresses in his traditional attire, a sacred thread, a tilak on his forehead, all these powerful symbols of his devotion, and he walks into a Christian church for the very first time in his life. Inside, the service is happening, and he hears the pastor's voice boom out. The Holy Spirit is now touching you. You can just imagine his heart pounding. This is it. This is exactly what his sister had been talking about. So he's looking around the room, right? He's searching for a person, some kind of visible presence, anything that could be this Holy Spirit. He's bracing himself, just wondering what form this touch is going to take. And then the pastor comes over directly to him. The moment he came for has finally arrived. And in that instant, it happens. He describes this physical release. The very thing he came to witness is happening to him. He fell. And as he did, he felt that exact sensation of something leaving him. It was a feeling, he said, that was completely and totally new. He later explained to his mother that the feeling of completeness he had chased for decades, through thousands of hours of pre-dawn rituals and difficult journeys, he found it all, right there, in a single, instantaneous moment of prayer. But this profound experience wasn't the end of his story. Not by a long shot. In fact, it was really the beginning of a whole new kind of struggle, one that would test his newfound peace in ways he never expected.
Now, it's really crucial to see how he framed this change for himself. He didn't see it as converting to a new religion with a bunch of new rules. As he puts it, I didn't change my religion, I changed my God. For him, the divine experience he just had was too big to be confined to some man-made box.
And this new path, well, it was anything but easy. I mean, just look at this chart. The conflict was coming at him from all sides. He had to wrestle with his own internal fears, like what if the gods he'd left behind were angry? He faced rejection from his family. And in a really surprising twist, he even felt persecuted by people inside his new faith community. And this really brings us to the core of his message today. He believes people get corrupted by just hearing about Jesus, whether it's from critics or from followers. His advice is pretty simple. Don't just hear, go and experience it for yourself. His story is just this powerful reminder that for some people, the search for truth isn't found in a book or a ritual, but in a direct, personal encounter.